break. Well, it doesn't really matter, we all end up in the grave. All my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead. I'm saying all my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead.
Well, hello, breathers,
And welcome back
to another fabulous episode of
All My Favorite People Are Dead.
I'm Shannon Butler.
I'm Sue Teresi.
So Teresa.
I am, always was, always will be.
Always will be.
Woo-hoo. Nobody else wants to be me, so I have to be me. It ain't easy being me.
It ain't easy being you?
It ain't
No?
easy being green. It ain't easy being
You're not
me.
green.
No, I'm not.
You're a little Pushin.
No, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
Lilliputian. I
Yeah,
am.
you are.
I represent the lollipop cube. I'm tiny. I'm
You
a
are.
little
That's okay.
tiny. But
You
thank
fit
you.
nicely in my Mini Cooper.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish next time you would let me out of the glove compartment.
Well, I mean, the glove
You
compartment.
poke some holes in it.
It's a
but
snug spot.
It is.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
You know, good thing I don't have to stretch out.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's all good. There was room for me and my pillow in the glove compartment.
Yeah.
It's good. I travel light.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah. Next time you can take me out of your book bag. It's a wonderful thing.
So this week you have a dead person for us.
Naturally,
a
that's
favorite,
what we do.
A favorite dead person.
I do.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the one, the only.
Yeah.
That guy, Howard Carter.
Ah.
Oh yeah, the curse of the Pharaoh.
So when you sent me the little images on the Facebook Messenger thing, you sent me
I said, let's do this.
You sent me the Steve Martin doing the King Tut dance.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was like, but we can't talk about Steve Martin. He's not dead.
I know. And I was laughing my butt off. I was like, no, not Steve Martin. The original King Tut. We should talk
original
about that.
King Tut.
Do you know the song? Buried with a Grammy,
Yeah.
Funky Tut. He's my favorite hunky. But
Yeah.
It was hysterical. And all that craze came out of, I think, because of Howard Carter.
Howard Carter.
Had Howard Carter not discovered King Tut, nobody would have frickin' known who he was.
Uh-huh.
Steve Martin wouldn't have been wearing, the headdress when none of us would have been walking like an Egyptian.
Oh dear.
So let's dive into this, shall we, dear breather?
Yeah, I'm curious because I don't know a whole lot about
scary,
the
spooky.
story.
Scary, spooky.
I've watched the movie The Mummy several times, but I don't
The
think
guy with the
that's...
toilet paper running around. That kid.
No, the Brendan Fraser classic.
Oh,
with
that
Mummy.
too. Well, you know what? I don't think any of these would have come to light had Howard Carter not opened up a whole intact tomb. We wouldn't have known what the heck,
Yeah, okay.
So it all started in 1922.
1922.
When I was a little girl in 1922, when I was a little girl in the Valley of the Kings in Egypt. Okay?
Okay.
King Tutankhamun's tomb was open intact almost 3,000 years it was sealed. After
That's a long
3,000
ass
years.
time.
3,000 years, I'd say
Yeah.
that's a long time. Howard Carter was a British archaeologist and an Egyptologist, and he discovered the intact tomb, which was the best preserved tomb ever found.
So like archaeologist with Indiana Jones hat and whip?
Just about, and
Okay.
jacket, and
Okay.
looking like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
The other tombs were never...
Did he look like Harrison Ford?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wish.
Was he
No.
hot?
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. Okay,
Was
hotter than the Mummy.
Was he Brendan Fraser hot?
No, hotter
No.
than the Mummy. No,
Okay.
oh please,
No?
he's a British archaeologist. What do you think?
Did he have a handlebar mustache?
He didn't even have a hat. No,
No,
none of
no?
that. None of
No?
that. No
Oh.
hats.
Okay.
No hat, no whip, none of that. No
So,
runs, no
just some
hits.
guy
no.
digging holes in Egypt.
Some Egyptian guy looking. He knew where to look. He was very
Okay.
smart.
Okay.
Howard Carter was born May 9th, 1874 in Kensington, London. He died March 2nd, 1939, when I was still a little girl. Yeah. He was the youngest of 11 children born to Martha and Samuel Carter. His father was an artist and an illustrator who helped develop Howard's artistic talent. So in 1899, Carter was appointed Inspector of Monuments for Upper Egypt in the Egyptian Antiquity Service, the EAS.
Okay.
Based at Luxor, he oversaw a number of excavations and restorations in nearby Thebes. So while in the Valley of the Kings, he was supervising the systematic exploration of the valley by the American archaeologist Theodore Davis. Now, Carter was praised because he got improvements in the protection of and accessibility to existing excavation sites, plus his development of a grid block system for searching for tombs.
Okay.
There's like a grid, and you look here and you look there. There's a very systematic way of looking for what they knew should be there.
And I
right?
think a lot of the archaeologists still kind of work on that same
They
sort of
still
grid
do. They still
pattern.
do.
Yeah.
It's why look here if somebody, don't
Right.
reinvent the wheel, right?
Right.
The Antiquities Service also provided funding for Carter to head his own excavation projects. So in 1907, he began working for Lord Carnarvon, who employed him to supervise excavations of nobles' tombs near Thebes. Okay, so this guy is important. Lord Carnarvon is financing. He says, here, take the money. You go, you dig, you know what you're doing.
So this lord wants him to go find Egyptian lords. Apparently,
pretty much.
Because he's looking for
pretty
nobles,
much. He's
right?
Who do you think they're going to bury?
Right,
Joe
right.
Schmo from Idaho. They're looking for real stuff here.
The wealthiest Egyptians.
Who
yeah.
else would get these real big tombs?
Right.
Okay, in 1914, Lord Carnarvon receives the concession to dig in the Valley of the Kings. So Carter leads the work, undertaking a systematic search for any tombs missed by previous expeditions, particularly searching for Pharaoh Tutankhamun. They knew he was there. They knew he existed. They knew he's got to be there somewhere. Nobody found it. And a lot of the other tombs that they found were been exposed to grave robbers. So they're looking for that. They know nobody's found that. That's like the needle in the haystack, right?
Okay.
However, excavations were soon interrupted by this little thing called World War I.
Yes.
Okay, that's a problem.
Gets in the way of things.
Gets in the way of everything. Carter spends the war years working for the British government as a diplomatic courier and a translator.
Okay.
He enthusiastically returns his excavation work. He returns to it at the end of 1917. So he returns to the Valley of the Kings, and he's investigating a line of huts that had been abandoned a few seasons earlier. The crew cleared the huts and the rock debris beneath. So there had been some excavations before. So they're re-clearing the area that was abandoned.
They just didn't dig deep enough, huh?
A miss is as good as a mile, right?
Yeah.
So, but on the 4th of November in 22, the young water boy accidentally trips. He stumbles on a stone. The stone turns out to be the top of a flight of steps cut deep into the bedrock.
So the little boy found the tomb.
Yep. It's like the Dead Sea Scrolls. You ever hear that story?
Uh-huh.
Right? The kid is like looking for his goat, and the goat's in the cave, and he throws a rock in the cave, and he hears crack, and he wound up hitting something, the container, the vase, whatever it was, that was housing the Dead Sea Scrolls, or How Caverns. Right? The cow was going over because it was like cool air. What's going on here? Right? The kid tripped over it.
Yeah.
And they were like, what's here? Carter had the steps partially dug out until the top of a mud-plastered doorway was found. The doorway was stamped with a very distinct cartouche. A cartouche is like the ovals with the letters, and usually they have a name. You've seen them. They're like the oval. Okay. So there was a cartouche with hieroglyphs, right?
Okay.
Carter ordered the staircase to be refilled and sent a telegram to Carnarvon. Okay, so what he does is like, refill it. I don't want anybody to see it or break in, right?
Oh.
You were never here, you didn't see anything type of thing.
Okay.
He calls Carnarvon, who arrived 2.5 weeks later on the 23rd of November, accompanied by his daughter, Lady Evelyn.
Okay.
So now they go and they open it up. The tomb was virtually intact and would ultimately be found to contain over 5,000 items.
Well, hot damn.
So he waits for his finance. It takes a couple of weeks for him to come, and now they go and they open it. Okay? On November 29th, the tomb was officially opened in the presence of a number of invited dignitaries and Egyptian officials. Okay, the next several months was spent cataloging and conserving the contents of the antechamber, right? It's like different rooms. So they're just in the antechamber. On February 16th now, we're into February 16th, Carter opens this sealed doorway and confirmed it now leads into a burial chamber. Okay? And that has the sarcophagus, the body of King Tut. Okay? So eventually they go in one room, another room. The tomb was considered to be the best preserved, the most intact pharaonic tomb ever found in the Valley of the Kings, and the discovery was eagerly covered by the world's press. Okay?
I'll bet.
What do you see? He looks in, and Carnarvon says, I see wondrous things, and he looks, and he sees all these fabulous artifacts from 3,000
statues,
and the body and the whole bit. You know,
Yeah.
everything that you think about. That's what he found. It must have been amazing.
Yeah.
Carter's meticulous assessing and cataloging of thousands of objects in the tomb took nearly 10 years, most being moved to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
Okay.
All right, despite the significance of his archaeological find, Howard Carter received no honor from the British government.
Oh.
No, thank you, Howard. No.
That's messed up.
You know. However,
Well, let me guess. The Lord got all the credit, right?
Well, get a lot. Well, yes and no. Yes and
Okay.
no. However, in 26, he received the Order of the Nile, third
Okay.
class, from King Tut I of Egypt. Okay.
Okay.
He was awarded an honorary degree, a degree of Doctor of Science by Yale, an honorary membership for the Real Academia of the Historia of Madrid, Spain. Carter didn't. I mean, he got some accolades, but picture now. Picture now if somebody makes a discovery now, right?
Yeah.
Their name would be all over the place. They would name something after them. Shh. All right.
Miss Daisy.
Carter wrote a number of books.
Miss Daisy!
We can shut the dog up. I don't know what.
I'm
Put
sorry.
a sock in her mouth.
Miss Daisy, we are recording a podcast, Miss Day.
And she's like, yeah,
She's like, I'm sorry, what? I'm the fucking pharaoh. I do what I want. You guys are talking about Egypt?
I'll piss on King Tut.
Miss Daisy,
You finished?
are you done? We're recording. Thank you. Silence. What the fuck is
You don't have like a bone they can chew on or a
They ate 'em all.
Get one of those cons. You fill it with peanut butter
Oh yeah,
and
they
cheese.
devoured
and
all the peanut butter. I know.
Fill it with
I
cheese
know.
or something. They just like chew on it for an hour and you don't.
Okay.
Okay. Go back to he receives the Madrid, Spain.
We're just gonna keep recording because this is like the 5th time.
What am I doing? Wait, what? Okay.
Do your thing. Keep going.
Are we recording this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, can you edit this crap out or no?
We're
This
just
is
gonna.
Spain.
I'm so done.
Alrighty then. Okay. So he gets this thing from Spain. Next. Okay. Carter wrote a number of books on Egyptology during his career, including 5 years' exploration at Thebes, co-written with Lord Carnarvon in 1912, really documenting and describing their early excavations, and a 3-volume popular account of the discovery of the excavation of Tut's tomb. Sounds like fascinating reading. All right.
Okay.
He also delivered a series of illustrated lectures on the excavation, including a 1924 tour of Britain, France, Spain, the U.S., you name it, he did it. Those in New York and other cities were attended by large and enthusiastic audiences. So this is sparking the American Egypt mania.
Uh-huh.
Even President Coolidge requested a private lecture.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
So I mean, this thing, it blew up for the day as much as it could then. He was the
Yeah.
buzzword as, would be as much as it could.
Okay.
But you can imagine if you find something like that now, right?
Yeah, that'd be a big deal for
So
sure.
Carter was considered awkward, hot-tempered, abrasive. He
Oh.
never married. He never had children. It might have been reported that he was gay. Who knows?
Oh, really?
Who cares? He died at 64 from Hodgkin's disease. He's buried at Putnam Vale Cemetery. He was buried in London on March 6th. 9 people attended the funeral.
Oh.
I guess everybody else was already dead or a mummy.
Well,
I
he
don't
said
know.
he said he had a hard time making friends,
Yeah,
right?
so nine people came to his funeral.
Okay.
Carter's discovery of King Tut's tomb was revived with interest in ancient Egypt. Egyptomania, Tutmania, and that influenced everything from Steve Martin, all those mummy movies that you think about, the guy running around with toilet paper, Brendan Fraser, all that
Yeah.
stuff, even later.
And you, with your weird fascination with Egypt.
It really is. It's like when they revitalized like Twilight with vampires. All of a sudden now, vampires used to just bite you on the neck. Now they glitter, they glow. It's the same thing. They revitalize all these mummy things again.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
those mummy movies were coming out, gained popularity.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So I saw King Tut's treasures in the 70s, and I saw it a few years ago also.
Okay.
I was fascinated that you dig up. They don't let the real body. It's a replica. The real body is in Cairo, the real
Right.
mummy. But when you see like the headdress and these things, and they're made out of gold, and his walking sticks, and his sandals, and his breakfast, and
Yeah.
all these things that have been laying in there for 3,000 years. How can you not be excited
Sure.
to see something like that for the first time in 3,000 years? I was captivated. I saw it twice.
I can only imagine how Howard Carter felt when he first walked in.
Wondrous
to
thing.
that-
You know, you're looking for something like this your whole life, and you find the pot of gold
Yeah.
literally at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
To find everything like that, with everything, they believed that he was going to the afterlife. And he needed his, Mr.
Right.
Coffee, and he needed his coffee filters, and, all those things that you need in the next life. Food and everything he would need in the next life to pack. I mean, I don't want to say it was a hoarding situation, but modern day hoarding situation. But they packed all that stuff with him because you're going to need this.
So, what? All right, here's a question for you.
Okie dokie.
If you're gonna have yourself a tomb, what are you gonna put in it? The Sue tomb.
Halloween stuff.
Halloween stuff.
Really good music.
Yeah.
Mr. Coffee.
Mr. Coffee.
I wouldn't want to kill like anything to take it with me, like cats and stuff. Shoes. I mean,
Shoes.
obviously, I need a room for my shoes.
Your room for the
So
shoes.
so I like to call it Tutankhamun Nefertarisi. So for the Tutankhamun Nefertarisi, there would be a room for shoes. Really, I mean, if I would have a lot of chocolate cake, because if you're dead,
Chocolate cake,
well,
right.
if you're dead and you eat it, you don't gain weight.
That's right.
You
So, yeah,
know, and
chocolate
my
cake.
music, lots of books, lots
Yeah.
of chocolate cake, lots of shoes, Halloween decorations, lots of books to read.
Yeah.
You can keep your other things.
All right. Okay.
So when you talk about one common element of the popular representations of the excavations, the idea of a curse.
The
There's a
curse.
curse.
The curse.
King Tut's curse.
Cois.
Carter consistently dismissed the suggestion of the curse as what he called Tommy rot. That's Tommy rot.
Tommy Rock?
Bullshit.
Oh.
Okay, it's British old slang for bullshit.
Okay.
Commenting that the sentiment of Egyptologists is not one of fear, but one of respect and awe, and that entirely opposes foolish superstitions. Okay. So let's talk about the curse, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm curious.
Did it say if you touch this mummy, you're gonna die? No, there was none of that.
Okay.
However, why a curse? Well, I'll tell you. Why would you want a curse surrounding something that you just found? Despite popular misconceptions, no curse was ever found inscribed in the pharaoh's tomb.
Oh.
Okay, so where'd it come from? Well, when King Tut's tomb was discovered and opened in 22, it was a major archaeological find.
Yeah, I'll
okay,
say.
big event.
Yeah.
Okay, in order to keep the press at bay and yet allow them a sensational aspect which to deal with, the head of the excavation team, Howard Carter, put a story out that there was a curse placed upon anyone who violated the rest of the boy king.
So
Yeah.
he did it himself.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right.
You can't go near this. There's a curse on there. You know why? I mean, he was grateful that there were no tomb robbers. That now that I found it, don't you dare touch it.
Yeah.
How are you going to keep people out? Security? There's a curse. So but that was what he did. Okay.
So he's making it up as he goes along.
You can't blame him.
Okay.
He didn't really invent the idea of a cursed tomb, but he did exploit it to keep intruders away from his history-making discovery.
Okay.
Curses were they're thousands of years old.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's a curse. There's a curse. Really, there's a curse. Oh yeah, there's a curse. You can't go near this shit. There's a curse. Can't blame him. How else
yeah.
is he going to keep it under wraps? Ha ha. Pun intended. Okay. All right. Ever since King Tut's tomb was discovered in Egypt in the Valley of the Kings, stories circulated that those who dared to violate the boy king's final resting place found a terrible curse. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Okay, his dagger. His dagger was found attached to his leg, right? The iron. You hear the iron sword, the iron dagger, and if you remove it from the body, there's a curse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the sword, the dagger itself, was made from some sort of iron meteorite.
Oh.
Okay, which means it's iron containing nearly 11% nickel and traces of cobalt, which is a characteristic of extraterrestrial iron found in many of iron meteorites that rain down on Earth for billions of years. In other words, it's possible that they forged his sword from a meteorite or something that fell to the Earth, and therefore,
Hey, well, they're saying aliens built the
built the tomb.
tomb.
Yeah, of course. In the meantime, they found inside the pyramids, marks where the architects had left, feet and inches and things that they wrote. No, it wasn't built by alien. A meteorite. It's possible meteorites fell and they used part of that to make his sword. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
There was a curse with that. Okay. Okay. Though not as dramatic as the murderous mummy, It is a claim that many people associate opening with the tomb, like the, right? You think of the mummy,
yeah.
and he comes out of the grave and all that. That's a great story.
Sure it is.
It's Boris Karloff probably wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So now people did die after coming in contact with the opening of the tomb.
Okay, so what's that about?
Okay, well, first of all, I didn't see, even now when I watch like the history, okay, they weren't wearing gloves.
Uh-huh.
They're not wearing masks.
Uh-huh.
You go into a 3,000-year-old sealed up. Who the heck knows what kind of bacteria you're going to find in that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go in there without masks and gloves and protective, PPE. I don't know,
Right.
but they just went in. They opened their make out. They breathe in this. I don't doubt that there's some sort of bacteria or something there.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's one.
Mold.
Right? Mold. 3,000 things like that. There's certain
Black
bacteria.
mold that like,
who the
sticks to your
hell
lungs
knows?
and yeah.
Who the hell knows? I have no doubt with something like that.
Right.
All right, but people did fall victim, dying under mysterious circumstances.
Okay.
So the legend gained traction because a few of the people did die right after the tomb was open.
Okay.
The highest profile death associated with the curse is probably that of George Edward Mullinex Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon. So
That's a mouthful.
Lord Carnarvon, the British aristocrat, remember him? The
Yes.
amateur Egyptologist who helped finance the search?
Yes.
Okay. He died March 25th, 1923, a year after the tomb was open.
Okay.
It's regarded as mysterious, but in fact, he had poor health his whole life. He had pulmonary ailments long before he arrived in Cairo.
Okay.
So he had a mosquito bite.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
Cuts it shaving.
Uh-huh.
Got infected.
Ah.
Blood poisoning sets in, and he died.
I know somebody who had that.
Okay, so that's it. Is that the curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Legend has it that when Lord Carnarvon died, all the lights in his house, or according to some other accounts, all the lights in Cairo mysteriously went out. Ooh. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Howard Carter had a paperweight that he gave to his friend Bruce Ingham as a gift. Mm-hmm. The paperweight, appropriately, or perhaps quite inappropriately, consisted of a mummified hand wearing a bracelet. That was supposedly inscribed with a phrase, "Cursed be he who moves my body." So this is what he gives to Ingram. Ingram didn't die from the mummy's curse. However, his house burned to the ground not long after receiving the gift. And when he tried to rebuild the house, it was hit by a flood.
Jesus.
Location. Okay. George J. Gould was a wealthy American financier and railroad executive who visited the tomb in 1923 and fell sick almost immediately after.
Oops.
He never fully recovered and died of pneumonia a few months later. Now, again, it could be because they weren't, who the heck knows, spores or whatever.
Right.
Or the guy was just sick.
People were dying of pneumonia all the time back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But when you die of pneumonia, and then you die of pneumonia after visiting King Tut's tomb.
You could die of pneumonia from visiting Lake George back then. It's the same thing.
Right. But that didn't make news.
Okay.
Okay, it said that Lord Carnarvon's half-brother suffered from King Tut's tomb simply by being related to him. Now it's like by proxy. Okay. Amateur Egyptologist Aubrey Herbert was born with a degenerative eye condition and became totally blind later in life.
Oh, wow.
So a doctor suggested his rotten infected teeth were interfering with his vision. Yeah, that makes sense to me too. So Herbert had every single tooth pulled from his head and off in an effort to regain his eyesight.
How did that work out for him?
I'll tell you how it worked out. Okay, not so good.
Oh, Jesus.
He did, however, didn't gain his eyesight, but he died of sepsis
That makes
as
sense.
a result of the dental surgery 5 months after the death of his brother.
Oh, Christ.
So that's cursed by proxy. Apparently, he had nothing to do with it, but just being a half relative and having your teeth pulled out of your head might get you cursed.
Oh, people are dumb.
Hugh Evelyn White, a British archaeologist, visited King Tut's tomb and may have helped excavate the site. But by 1924, after seeing death sweep over his fellow excavators, he died by suicide.
Oh.
But before writing allegedly, in his own blood, allegedly, I have succumbed to the curse which forces me to disappear.
So
blah,
dramatic.
blah, 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 blah. Yeah, nonsense.
Yeah.
Amateur Egyptologist Aaron Ember was friends with many of the people who were present when King Tut's tomb was open, including Lord Carnarvon. Okay. Ember died in 26 when his house in Baltimore burned down less than an hour after he and his wife hosted a dinner party. Well, it sounds like the barbecue went too far.
Somebody left the stove on.
Somebody left the stove on or a cigarette burning, but no, that can't be it. It's got to be the curse.
A curse, yeah.
Okay. An hour after they had the dinner party. Okay. He could have exited safely, but his wife said no, save the manuscript he'd been working on while she fetched their son. Sadly, they and the family's maid all died in the catastrophe. What was the name of the manuscript? The Egyptian Book of the Dead. Yeah,
Oh.
okay. All right. Even the dogs are quiet on that
I
one.
mean, that is a little suspicious right there.
Yeah, okay. Richard Bethel was Lord Carnarvon's secretary and the first person behind Carter to enter the tomb.
Oh.
He died in 1929 under suspicious circumstances, although the one modern historian has attributed his death to the work of none other than the famous occultist Aleister Crowley.
Oh.
I love Crowley. Okay, yeah, it's Crowley's fault. Of course it is.
Of course.
Okay. Bethel was... Can't do this now. Oh,
Uh-oh.
sorry. My phone rang. Bethel was found smothered in his room at an elite London gentleman's club.
Smothered in his room?
Smothered in his room, I'll repeat this, in his room at an elite London gentleman's club.
Okay.
Soon after, the Nottingham Evening Post mused the suggestion that the Honorable Richard Bethel had come under the quote-unquote curse was raised last year when there was a series of mysterious fires at his home, where some of his priceless finds from King Tut's tomb were stored. No evidence of a connection between the artifacts and Bethel's death were ever established, though.
Huh.
Must have been Crowley's fault. Alrighty then.
Interesting.
Proving you didn't even have to be one of the excavators or expedition backers to fall victim to King Tut's curse.
Okay.
So Archibald Douglas Reed, a radiologist, merely x-rayed Tut before the mummy was given to the museum authorities.
Oh.
He got sick the next day and died 3 days later.
Well, that's a little weird.
Now that again, I can believe that there was some kind of dust or something.
Yeah.
If you have a pulmonary problem or something, and I have no doubt that they didn't wear PPE.
Well, plus early X-rays were a little dangerous.
Early,
too,
anything.
right?
So some of these things can be explained.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. James Henry Breasted, another famous Egyptologist of the day, was a member of Carter's team when King Tut's tomb was open. Shortly thereafter, he allegedly returned home to find his pet canary had been eaten by a cobra, and the cobra was still occupying the bird's cage.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Now I've got a new pet.
Since the cobra is a symbol of the Egyptian monarch and a motif that the king wore on their headdress to represent proclamation, this was rather an ominous sign. Yeah, cobra.
I can see that.
Breasted himself didn't die until 1935, although the canary got eaten. But his death did occur immediately after yet another trip to Egypt.
What happened to the cobra?
The cobra ate the canary, and he was fine.
Did he keep the cobra as a pet?
I don't think so. I don't think he fit in the cage.
Oh.
So let's talk about Howard Carter. If anybody's going to die from the curse, wouldn't it be that guy?
But he died much later on, right?
Yes, he did. He discovered the tomb. He physically opened it. He removed the tummy. The tummy. He removed the tummy too. He removed the mummy of King Tut from the sarcophagus. He lived until 1939, 16 years after the event.
Yeah.
And not only did he live to be a fairly ripe age of 64 before succumbing to cancer, but Sergeant Richard Adamson, a member of Carter's team, who guarded the burial chamber round the clock for 7 years, and he was the European closest to King Tut's remain. He lived another 60 years until his death in 1982.
Whoa.
So,
Well, maybe King Tut appreciated him guarding.
there you go. And
So
he
he's like,
appreciated,
I'm not going to put a curse on you, buddy. You were just guarding me.
but the guy that x-rayed me and, me and Aleister Crowley will get the cobra. And,
Yeah.
whatever you believe. A study showed that of 58 people who were present when the tomb and the sarcophagus were open, only 8 died within a dozen years.
Huh.
Which happens anyway, right?
Yeah,
8 years, people, whatever. A dozen years, rather. So, curse, you decide, dear breathers. Okay, and what have we learned, Dorothy? I wouldn't touch anything thousands of years old that have been completely hermetically sealed up,
Right.
without like a hazmat suit and
Yeah.
a mask and nose plugs and who the heck knows?
You don't know
curse,
what's in
curse,
there.
curse. And
Yeah.
I believe Howard Carter did start it, but it blows up.
Yeah.
I mean, we walk like an Egyptian. Everybody does the hand thing, the hand behind you, the hand in front of you.
Well, that was what band was that?
The Bangles.
The Bangles, yeah.
Walk
thank you.
like an Egyptian. And everybody loves that Egyptian stuff. I've been fascinated with it since I'm a kid.
I know.
You know, I love that stuff. And every couple of years it makes a comeback. You know, you decide, curse, schmurse.
Schmurr.
But Howard Carter was the guy. He knew where to go. Other people missed it by a mile, missed it by not a mile.
Now, did he continue in a career as an archaeologist? Or-
Yeah, he did. Well, after that, do you really have to do a career in anything? It's like winning lotto. But he did. He went on tours.
Yeah.
And he explained about it, and he became a lecturer and all
lecturer,
of that.
yeah.
Never found anything after that.
Oh, no more big dick.
No, I don't know how many big, there are some tombs that they know are out there.
Yeah.
They gotta be some
Yeah.
famous names. They haven't found them yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised. I don't know. Radar and all these things. You would think that they can find. I don't know how these things work. I'm not an archaeologist.
Right.
But you would think that they would have found everything there is to find, but they haven't.
Right.
And, when you look at these artifacts, just like when you look at the Titanic stuff brought up from the bottom of the ocean for 100 years, or stuff, hoarded in a cave for 3,000 years,
Right.
it's fascinating.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I've been, I've seen other mummies in other museums, and, you sit in a room and after now they have scans and stuff, this is a 3,000-year-old woman or man or child.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a room with these things. To me, it blows my mind.
Now they can recreate what faces look like.
What they
and all that
look
stuff.
like, and
Yeah.
they really, because there was a time where in bazaars, rich people would go and they would buy a mummy.
Yeah.
Could have been chicken bones, could have been feathers, could have been the real McCoy.
Right.
Now we can tell.
Because there's like
with
a
CT
mummy in
scans.
every city museum.
It
and it's
became
like,
a thing. It
Yeah.
became a tourist thing because mummies that was the popular way of burying the dead.
Yeah.
And somehow they fell into the wrong hands, and you get tomb robbers.
Why
and all
don't we
these,
do mummification anymore?
old style went out of business. They were mummifying animals. They mummified
Yeah.
people. That's what they did in their religion. It was a big religious thing, and there was a way that they did it that the mummies stayed.
And now we chock people full of dangerous chemicals.
Yeah, and mummify them. No, they're still living. They're still living when we, give them Botox and all
No,
these things.
that's not what I mean.
What are we talking about?
I mean, when you die and
Yes.
you have
The embalmers?
Embalmers, yeah.
Okay.
Instead of naturally doing the mummification process,
Yeah.
now we
Right.
put tons of nasty chemicals in people instead.
Right. Well,
And preserve them that way.
there you go. There you go.
So why don't we bring back mummification?
We can
Right?
look into it. We can
do
start
it.
a movement.
Right now we've got the natural decomposition thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you can
you
become
be a
soil.
tree. You can become a tree.
Yeah.
They can. Yeah. We can go back to that. Remove the organs and put them
Yeah.
in canopic jars, and then wrap
Well, they
up the
remove
body.
your organs when they do an autopsy and embalming anyway.
Okay.
All your organs get pulled out of you and then stuck in a plastic bag and then sewn
buried
back
with
in.
you?
No, they get sewn back into your chest in this plastic bag when they're doing the embalming process.
We don't do that. Jews don't.
You don't do embalming?
We don't. No, we don't. We're not. We don't take anything out. We don't
okay.
do that. We don't do autopsies. So we don't do that. No. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust type of thing.
So you guys cremation?
No, we're not allowed to cremate.
Oh.
Quite the opposite. So the body goes like in a plain pine box.
Okay.
No nails, and to actually incur the decomposition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't cremate either. So we don't.
Oh, okay.
There's none of that.
Okay.
If you're sleeping and we do it like 24 hours. If you're sleeping too long, we throw you in the ground. She took a nap. No, she didn't. Call. We go quickly as possible to.
Okay.
We don't do the wakes. You're gone. Bye bye.
Okay. Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
We don't fool around. It's
Okay.
gotta happen ASAP.
Yeah.
So my family doesn't nap.
I follow a lot of the funeral directors and embalmers on TikTok.
And this is what they do.
And they talk about all the things.
So they remove the organs.
Yeah, they remove all the organs.
Everybody's.
Yeah, everybody's organs.
And they
put them in a biohazard bag, and then they do the Y incision on the chest, and they stick the bag back inside you.
like a turkey for Thanksgiving. When you
yeah.
have to take the
stuffing, basically.
I can't do that either. That's one of the reasons I don't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pull out the gizzards from the bag that's frozen inside the cavity of the Oh, righty. Wow, that's a doorbell.
That is my
That's
doorbell.
the doorbell. That
is
means the pizza guy must be here.
Oh
So
no,
on
my
that
neighbors
note-
are out across the street.
Oh no, the neighbors are out.
Neighbors, God
So,
forbid.
oh no, the neighbors are out. Oh God, someone Someone save us. We're at Shannon's house. Okay, if you're getting this podcast, please alert the authorities that the neighbors are out. On that note, Grievous.
Our next podcast will definitely be recording at your house.
There will be no barking on our
And
next
not mine.
podcast. Well, thank you, Breathers.
Thank you, breathers.
All right, have fun.
All right, and thanks for listening to another fabulous episode
Barking
of
episode of All My Favorite People Are Dead.
Jesus Christ.
Dead men tell no tale.
Goodbye, folks.